Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour on this fabulous Friday, November 20th, 2020. Ooh, it's 2020. That's fun.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who sees number patterns. It's like pareidolia for dates.
I'm your host, Andrew Barnes, and we've got our usual suspects here. Let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves, and then we'll get to doing our live coding, which is why we're here today. Brad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with the developer program here at ServiceNow. I have been developing on ServiceNow for about 12 years, and I'm excited to be here this afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. And Chuck.
I'm Chuck Tomasi, and I too am a developer advocate with ServiceNow, and I have a lot of fun building apps and integrations and sharing them with you. And today we're going to have some fun.
Awesome. And rounding out the corner, Andrew Barnes, developer advocate here at ServiceNow. We've got the three amigos here, and I am just delighted to be here with you today. Before we introduce our beverages of choice today, I'm going to show off my new Paris shirt.
Yeah.
And Brad, hit us up the previous shirt. We got a little Orlando
Mine's
shirt.
Orlando.
And I got nothing.
Chuck's got his bow ties. He's always prepared with his versions are timeless. The bow ties always.
Bow ties don't go with t-shirts anyway. I'm not bitter.
So what are you drinking today, Brad?
Oh, surprise. I'm drinking a barrel-aged stout, but this is a KBS. This is a maple Mackinac fudge barrel-aged stout. Mackinac.
I didn't know you could get KBS in Texas. Wow. Keweenaw Brewing. That's, you know where that is?
I don't.
You go as far north in Michigan as you can and keep going into Lake Superior. That's about where it is.
Nice.
Okay. And what are you drinking today, Chuck?
I have a Warsteiner Dunkel.
Ooh. There feels like a little theme going on with you two.
We need some diversity on this show. We got three white guys. We're drinking the same beer.
I have got Pohala. Yeah, lovely. But the name is Gimme Danger. And it's a Imperial Stout.
Ooh,
nice.
You can hear the
let us get rolling with what we're going to do today. So most of you are familiar with what we do on our show, but I'm going to remind you anyway. So thank you for joining us. We are going to do some ServiceNow live development on this show today. So we have, our crack team of advocates here, and every week one of us gets to showcase some development work that they want to accomplish that week and do it live. And we don't practice this. The places where we run into interesting errors or just learn things is completely unscripted, because that's the best way, is to see how it's actually done. No matter how many gazillions of years of experience you have, you will always be learning something new on this platform, which is what makes it the fun, to me, that I like the best. Is there's always something new to learn and try, and relearn, even because 5 years ago, me might have known this, and no, today me doesn't remember, but I'll relearn it because it's fun. And today, Chuck is going to be giving us a early look at our new CLI. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today directly, and then we'll get into our screen share, Chuck.
Yeah, I got to tell you that I've been doing this for almost 40 years. And when I started, computers were nothing but command lines. So this is a bit of a throwback. I am having fun now because running macros and scripts and whatnot is what I do. This whole GUI thing for the kids. Well, anyway. We are going to be using the new CLI, which will be coming out shortly. This is a preview, and I did ask our product people, can I show this, because it's not publicly available yet. It will be available in the store. You install the plugin or the module, whatever it is, and you will be able to configure endpoints. Think of it as a custom curl, if you will, but you don't have to specify the full URL or your credentials and all this stuff to be able to run macros. So from a command line, whether it's Windows or Mac or Linux, you could automate some more stuff, integrate with scripted REST APIs or the table APIs or any of the built-in APIs to be able to carry out actions and trigger them in the instance from a command line. So this is pretty powerful stuff. I'm going to be doing something kind of fun, kind of basic, related to the Karaoke app. There's a feature I'll show you in just a sec to click an icon and it will pull a random favorite from your favorites list and throw that into the queue. So I've got 700 and some favorites, and I go here, boom. It says now you're singing Beach Boys. Next,
Nice.
do another one. Click the icon again. Now you're singing AC/DC. Oh, that's a good variety. So it's when I get bored and don't know what to pick, I just say go pick something. And I have scripted REST APIs for pretty much every action that you see in the service portal, whether
Mhm.
it's a list of activities, the the release notes, I think, are part of that. Getting a page of songs to display, sending back the status of whether you favorited a song or not. So all these interactions are generally done with the exception of about one or two. I think I'm up to about 20 different scripted REST APIs for this app, and that was after I consolidated a bunch of them. So yeah, really. Get grouped page. That is now a thing for favorites and searching. And yeah, that's so I want to be able to trigger some of these actions from a command line as an example of what you might do for maybe promoting code or triggering your pipeline or running ATF or something where either you've built a scripted REST API or you're using one that's already on the system. You can do that. We do ship with some out-of-box examples, so you're not starting with a blank slate. And there is on-screen help. Try that again. On-screen help for the command line stuff. So it's actually not that complex. There's a whopping 3 tables involved. So I think we can muddle our way through this today.
Nice. All right. Well, with that, um, let's move into the screen share.
I
And
am screening.
while you do that, I was reading my beer a little bit because my Gimme Danger is a hilarious name, and I just realized that it's from Estonia,
Oh,
which is
nice.
really cool.
Wow.
Because I like Estonia. It's a cool place to visit.
It's about time for my son-in-law to bring me some more Russian beer. He goes to the Russian store every once in a while. We see screen, yes? We see screen. I'm looking at YouTube. We see the screen. Good. Now I have to find my cursor among all these screens. There we go. Okay. So let me just give you a quick demo of what this looks like. I will scoot this over to where we can see. This is my logged in service portal Karaoke app on my dev instance. And to show you the favorites, I go to the favorites menu. And here is what I call Karaoke. Okay. We may need to zoom out a little bit on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we
I'm
go.
working on it.
We're getting it. Okay. So this little crisscross icon here is my karaoke, and it pulls from the 725 random favorites. and says, great, I just queued up La Bamba by Richie Valens for you. And I click it again and it says, now Happy by Pharrell Williams. Okay, clap along if you feel that happiness. Anyway, uh, that's the way it works through the UI. And on the back end, if I pull up Studio, it always helps to have a quick reference to your API. I'm going to go to inbound resources, get a random favorite. I don't navigate this every day. Yes, I do. Okay. And here is my API. It's a simple get. It takes a couple of parameters. No, it has a couple of optional parameters. So here's something to consider. Prior to this, I did have to tweak the API a little bit. Prior to this, it expected query parameters for the customer and the region. And I need to know the region because I don't want to go grab a favorite that's not in this region. So it'll say, hey, I queued something up that you're not going to be able to play. That's not good because YouTube videos have regions on them. And I don't want to get something from Estonia that I can't play in the US. So if you don't supply them, it says, oh, you didn't give me a customer. You're it. I'm taking you. And then if you didn't give it a region, it will use the default region code from your profile, which for me is United States. So I've got a couple of fallbacks on there. Originally, I didn't have that logic in there, but I wanted to make the query parameters optional because after all, who likes typing in a sysid on a command line? It's not any fun. So think about the way you want, if you're creating a REST API, think about, do you want to pass in display values and translate those in the resource? Do you want to pass in sysids and use them raw? Do you want to make optional arguments? So that's how we're going to approach this. And I did have to do a little bit of pre-work on this scripted REST API. But before I get to random favorite, I want to do something a little simpler. There's my command line. I got to get back to the right screen. I want to do something a little simpler. There's also a history feature in here to say, what has Chuck done? You can see I queued this song. I queued this song. So there is a REST API also for get activity history, and that is here. This one takes one command line parameter argument, which again, I believe is optional. Right. It's optional. And well, no, it's not optional. You do have to specify it. I thought that was another one where I said you could use the default customer, but okay. We have to pass it a customer ID. So we're going to do one with a path parameter, one with some query parameters, maybe. And the cool thing about the command line interface is you set these up, and if you don't supply them, you can also do sort of an interactive version. So to test it, it's kind of fun. Let's go to the command line now that I know where my APIs are headed. And the command is simply SNC. And I said, oh God, not another SNC. We're not ServiceNow.com anymore, kids. That died about 10 years ago. I said, what does it stand for? They said, ServiceNow CLI. Okay, I can live with that. And if you just type that, it will give you a nice friendly help, like a man page kind of thing. Anybody familiar with man pages besides me? Old Unix thing. You type in man on a command and it'll tell you. So the Now command line interface is a unified tool to manage your ServiceNow instance. Woohoo! And it's extensible. That's what's cool. Out of the box comes with help, version, and configure and record. Okay, so first thing we want to do is configure a
Hey,
user
Chuck,
profile. Yes.
could you
You want to
pull
small that down?
just bring up from the bottom your terminal
Oh, because you can't see
about
the
3
command
lines
line.
worth? Yeah,
How's that?
that's perfect. Thank you, sir.
Right there. Okay. And I didn't really lose too much, did I? No, I did not.
Nope.
That was interesting how it took out the white space and not pushed everything off the top. So we've got a couple of command groups, and each command group has commands under them. So we can say configure profile or record query or whatever. And you want to know what you can get out of a configure? You type in this and go, what? And it'll tell you. Configure has a profile. Nice. And if we say SNC configure profile, it says, great. You got to do one of these commands: list, refresh, remove, or set. Well, it's not that hard to hack your way through this thing. SNC configure profile set. It goes, what's your instance? That's my instance. I think I forgot to delete my default profile. So we're just going to walk through this. You type in your instance. You want basic or OAuth. I will take basic. And that's my login. And I'll assume that's my password. And how do you want your output sent back to you? I haven't tried any of the others except JSON. So we could experiment since I'm not using the output. I wonder what table does. What do you think?
Yeah, like when I
Let's try
tested it,
table.
table didn't even exist. So
Okay, this is
I don't know what
1.5
that's going to give me.
or 1.05, I think. I don't know. Let's try table. So
Mhm.
it saves the profile. And then if you do Snc configure profile list, it says you have one default profile. You can name these and you can use them by name with a -p or a -- profile command when you're saying, I want to hit this command on that instance with this.
This
So
profile. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
do
as you know, all of us are working against, at least a few different instances at any one time, and most developers are working against more than one instance. The multiple profiles thing is pretty nice. That was one of the things I really appreciated the first time I saw this.
I like how it also pulled back the version. It says you're on Paris. Okay. So somewhere I know that's buried probably down in user local something or other in a JSON file based on appearance. But let's do SNC record because I can't remember. We could do a query, SNC record query. Then you give it a table name, I think. See, it jumps into interactive mode at this point. It's like
Says,
incident.
hey, give me a table.
Active equals true and priority equals 1. Fields, number, short description. Limit, I'm just going to take 1. Offset, 0 is good. Display values, you could get sysids or you get display values. I'm going to say true.
I want display values.
Processing, and I got a big fat nothing because I don't have anything in my incident table. Or I don't have anything that matches that query.
No active true priority 1.
You can, if you do SNC record query help, it will give you like an example. So let's take that same thing, but not do that much of a limit. Let's do limit. And these are all configured in the system. I'll show you where these are built right now. See how it did that little twisty process request thing? The one thing I want, if anybody has ever done this before, and save it to a file, it's sending, it's doing that little display thing as standard out, and it's doing everything as standard out. It's not doing anything as standard error. So when you do this, you see all that ugliness at top where it presented those messages? I don't want any of that. It's like that should be my output, that I saved to the file. Okay. And they've got that in the backlog to fix that and separate the output from the output.
That would be how I would expect to consume it as well, because I want to be able to pipe it to other things.
That was the first thing I did. Is like, that's going to be really ugly to pipe or redirect or something like that. It's like,
and that's half the power of any command line tool, is how it interacts with other command line tools. Like,
I agree 100%. You get the Mario coin. Okay. So given that, let's go back to SNC. We've done configure. We've done a little bit with record. I'm not going to mess around with that too much more because I want to get started on building, and it is under command. If you spell command right. Oh, I did spell it right. I thought I had 3 M's in there.
Type in CLI.
You can type in CLI, but it comes up with a few other things.
Too many other choices because client. Yeah.
And do you get anything with command? I didn't want to go to my command. Okay, command will work. How about
enter?
Line int. Ooh, line I. That'll work for me. Any I
like to figure out things like E space I.
Yeah. No, that
was KFL for workflow.
How about E space parenthesis? Oh, for crying out loud. Debug. I should have known. There, that's pretty cryptic. E space parenthesis capital C.
Yeah.
You don't have to start at the beginning of the word is the point here. Okay, we've got
That is fun.
we've got commands, command groups, and endpoints. And unfortunately, they're ordered logically backwards from where you want to go. So the command group is record. We're going to put in one for karaoke. The the endpoints are exactly what it sounds like. What is the rest endpoint I want to hit? And I notice these don't have a leading slash on them, which is interesting. But you can see this is pretty much, uh-oh, they're coming for you, Brad. These are pretty much how you would see them in your scripted REST API or any other API. And I'll show you where to specify the query parameters as well. So we got that. We know how this is put together. We start with a command group, and under the command group record are the commands create, delete, get query, da 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 da, where you specify the endpoint. And then in each one of these, like we drill into create, is where it says, here's how you use it. I haven't played around or looked at what all of these expressions are, determine if the command is succeeded, failure. I would, I would have thought maybe that comes out of the JSON. Like if you get a 400 or a 500, I got to learn more about this. I don't know. And of
Yeah,
course,
and I looked into what some of these were, and some of them appear to be for future use.
that's kind of what I was thinking too. It's like, what's the callback and how many retries do you get? It looks like it's built very solidly for the future, but we're going to do something simply for the present. Okay. And then our API endpoints. So if we say command table, we specify the type of parameter. We can even have a short name. So instead of dash dash table, or we could just say dash T. We can give a little example for our help message. And here's where we put in, is it a path parameter, a query parameter, a body? And where do we pull that from? Oh, it's from something else. So let's build one out of these real quick. First, let's make a new endpoint. And I already forgot what mine are called. So this is my endpoint. Copy paste from Studio. It's a get. Did we have the curly braces in the other examples? I don't remember.
Feel like yes.
I feel like yes. Okay, good.
Yes, there we go.
did. Okay, so that's how it's going to know. There's mine. We have an endpoint declared. Now let's go make a command group. Actually, we probably should have done the command group first. Karaoke. I assume you can structure these hierarchically, so you can have a set of command groups. Because remember, we were playing around with, what was it, record create or record, and it's record query, and it said this is a group within a group. So I think that's what that was.
Okay.
We're not going to have a parent group, so we'll just call this karaoke commands. Description, interact, karaoke app. Now imagine being getting an app from the store that had a set of commands that go with it. Ooh, that's pretty powerful stuff. Anytime you write an app or you have APIs that you can tie into, this is why I like as though they're a little more labor intensive to do scripted REST APIs from Service Portal, but you can also attack them from really anywhere else. The command line being one of them.
Yeah,
So,
I love scripted REST APIs. I use them all the time. They're my favorite. Like I'm just like, if I need to interact with some data from ServiceNow, I just like, well, let's make a scripted REST API, and then I can just call it from anywhere. And I've started to transition that concept to like flows as well. Like,
yeah,
I'll just go build an action because my action is kind of like an internal API. And if I need to expose it to external, guess what? Ha!
Oh.
Really quick, make a scripted REST API that calls my action.
Yes. I'm starting to do that too. Migrate from building everything in a script include to building it in actions and subflows and flows that you can call from really anywhere with the Flow API. So it's a new paradigm emerging.
So we're here in our command group. We've
Here
got
in our
it. We
command
need
group.
to now create some commands.
Let's create some commands. So let's call this one activity, activities, karaoke activities. Let's do activities plural. And our endpoint is going to be the one we just set up. That was pretty easy. Short description, yet a list of activities. Okay. And Save that. And here's where we say, what's our arguments? We had 3, if I remember right. There was a customer ID and then 2 query parameters for start and count.
And count.
Okay, so let's go build those real quick. Name, customer. Now this is the command name, not a friendly display name. Because I was going to use uppercase.
Those are sensitive to
Yeah.
symbols, and so use just regular words, right? At least right now.
Data type is a string. Default value. You can hard code something like when I do start, it will be 0 or count will be 10. Default value for customer is interesting because I would love to have the ability to inject JavaScript in here. Now I did it.
Like a JavaScript, get user kind of thing.
Okay, let's try it. I suspect it will work. Okay, let's try that. A customer sysid.
Right? We try things on this show because why not?
and the prompt, well, the prompt often looks a lot like the description to me. So this is, if you don't specify it on the command line, it's going to say, and we have mandatory. We definitely need the sysid. It's not something that I have a default behind the scenes for. So that one is mandatory. This will not run. We'll make this run at order 100. And expression to use to determine whether the CLI should prompt for the argument, typically used to display an argument based on the value provided to a previous argument. Oh, okay. So if you have conditional arguments, if I said, customer, if I say customer on the command line, then I need 2 more things. You could do that. Yes. What else do I need? I need start, short name, S, I guess. Make that an integer, default value 0, starting record number. That one is not mandatory because there is a default in the API, I believe. Yes, no. Shoot, I'd have to go in here and find out.
It's still one of my favorite features.
I don't use it that often, but it is kind of fun, isn't it?
Oh man, I probably use that every day.
Get entry, get my activities. There we go. If you didn't provide a start, I will assume you want. No, that still doesn't default to a number, does it?
Yeah.
I think we better make this mandatory. Oh, no, it defaults here. Okay. I'm good. Prompt. Start is good for me. 200. And that's that. New. Count. Uh-oh. I already said C for customer.
C is for cookie.
So, yeah, thanks, Cookie Monster. Short name. N. Number. How's that? That's a common one when you do like grep. This is also an integer, default value 10. Number of records to retrieve. Prompt. Count. Order 300. Not mandatory. All right. We should have everything we need. Let's go see. SNC. Right. Okay. The command groups. This is where I learned a hard lesson. Actually, I discovered it. I submitted something to the Slack channel that supports this group. And before they could answer, I figured it out. So I like those kind of features. Like, never mind. It's SNC Configure Profile Refresh. And then I do SNC and haha, look, my karaoke commands are now in the list.
Yeah. And so what that does, right, is it connects to the instance and goes and, introspects those tables in which you were just editing those records and pulls down any new commands so that you can actually engage with them here. If you just initially set it up right now, it would have done that as part of the initial connection. But once you add new commands after you've set up the CLI, that's how you update it.
And I'm told that they're looking into ways to make that a little more dynamic. So, I've been on other systems where it's like, I keep forgetting to refresh. All right.
Yeah, we're early in the journey with this tool here. So
But you can
if
see
there
the
are,
potential.
yeah,
Okay,
I
let's
mean,
do SNC Karaoke activities. Activities. It says sysid. That's not pretty, but let's see what happens. Start 1 1. And we got my scripted REST API has an issue. It sent back a 500. Undefined value has no properties at line 4. Okay, I hope we don't have to go backwards in working on this. Start. So, oh. We didn't tell it what the endpoint arguments were. It did not pass any of this stuff in. Like, okay, those are the arguments. Now we create the pieces that the API needs. So the endpoint argument for this is customer ID. Make sure you spell that right, because I only spelled customer to the other stuff. The value is going to come from flags. You can either hard code a value or you put flags dot whatever from your other related list. And it is going to be a path parameter. That's how you tie this into what the instance is looking for. Same kind of thing with start is going to use flags.start. I got all this by looking at the examples. There's no great mystery here. Query parameter and count is flags.count. Yeah, make sure your scripted REST API gets what it needs, or it will bark at you. Okay, now we've got those. And let's do it again.
Do it again.
1 1.
Say it again. Say it again.
Dang. Cursors. It's on line 4. So you know what's funny is that's not the line that's having a problem with the sysid yet. Something doesn't have a start. You know what we could also do? Hold on. Let's make sure it works through the REST API Explorer.
It seems
good
like
call.
Good.
Okay, so I need to know my sysid, which I don't have memorized offhand, but I often cheat and do this. That's me. Okay. REST API, pop that in there. We need a couple of query parameters for start 1. Count. Make sure we're not dealing with something more fundamentally broken. It was weird because it did present a history when we looked at the app. Send. 200 okay.
200's okay with me.
200's okay. And the command line is start 1, count 1.
Okay.
Okay, and we got a nice JSON payload back. So what did we do wrong?
Ooh, are we still set on table in your profile?
Set on table in the profile. Not sure what you mean.
When you were configuring your profile, you set your responses to be table. And
oh, you're right.
But that we still don't know what that does.
That wouldn't
it didn't give us a table.
It didn't give us a table. Well, all right. You want to change it back in case we?
I want to change it back just to,
SNC Configure
to minimize the differences between the scripted REST API,
okay.
REST API Explorer and
basic.
this.
Ooh, I just saw OAuth plus MFA. That was interesting. And don't ding at me. Based on SNC configure profile list. Okay. Go back to activities. All right, let's do this again. That 1 1. Huh. Okay, something about the output doesn't like stick with JSON for now. And we get a nice payload back. Yay, we can pass parameters in, we can pass parameters out.
Nice.
I wonder what that
Chuck
does.
was a doubter.
I wonder what that does. Okay, now I'm really curious what table does and what we can do with it.
Yeah, me too.
It might be one of those future things that's not ready for us yet.
Yeah, this is not out yet, so
Right.
there's a reason.
Wait,
Asterisks,
you're saying
asterisks.
we never put something out that needs further development?
No.
I can do some self-deprecating humor. Anything in the comments that we should know about?
Nope, people just having fun.
Okay. Yep. I took a drink for success on that one. Thank you, Upside Down
Drink for
Andrew.
success.
Okay. Now
That
let's go get the one to do the random karaoke song. So I've already got my, what did we say? E-space.
Yeah.
I'm just going to remember that one now.
What is your, while we're distracted anyway, what is your favorite like shortest menu thing? So mine is
YT.
D space G to get to users and groups. That's
What is
my
it?
favorite one. D space G.
Workflow.
Like dog space girl.
Okay. Well, now it gets you to command groups too.
It gets you to command groups. Oh no, I'm gonna have to learn a new one now.
Oh no.
I usually do the Canadian user, Sorry, show all my Canadian friends.
Users with a space will get you to the same spot as well, but it's more characters than D space G.
That will get you to a filter.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
like I want users, groups, and roles when I do user space.
One of the first ones I learned was SSRU, free business rules, but now that's all over the place. Once upon a time, YT would get you just to performance analytics, but look at what it gets you now. There's all kinds of analytics.
So
all
many
over the place.
things.
And I liked YT because I don't know if any of you remember Ian Bros from our professional services group. Fred, you might remember him.
Yeah.
He was our implementation guy when I was a customer and also taught me sysadmin before there was a training department. And
same. Yeah.
Back in the wooden spaceship when they had no furniture. Yeah, we're going way back now. But he would we weren't using Slack way back then. We were using like Adium and Google Messenger. Adium would tie into AIM and Yahoo, and it was a multi-chat client.
I liked Adium.
And he would always pop up and say YT for you there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my memory for Ian is YT. Okay, where were we?
Sorry, I distracted you. You were going to create a new command.
Like part of a password for crying out loud. E space parenthesis C. Okay, I was going to make a new command. So let's go to command groups, karaoke. I'm fine. We can be distracted. And let's do...
We've already had success, so
yeah,
a little distraction is like we created a command, we executed it, we got the data we expected. That was a win.
I'm thinking we could do a couple of these. We could have favorite random, and we could have favorite a particular song or favorite. So favorite may actually want to be a command group that's a child of karaoke. Let's try that. I didn't think about that earlier, but let's do a new command group. Come on, Chuck, hit the new button. We'll call this favorite. Oh, and if you mistype something and fix it later, you still have to do a refresh. That's what slowed me down. Parent group karaoke. I'm in uncharted waters here. Manage your favorites.
I predict that we will run into that at some point on the show, having to refresh, and none of us will remember.
I mean, that's
won't.
Not like an Oracle's prediction. That's just a certainty.
Let's do a new command called random, which is part of random.
Random, yeah.
I don't know what came out there. Oh, we need our API. Darn it. See, this is where it's mandatory and I keep forgetting. But maybe we can do this trick. Oh, yeah. Here we go. It wouldn't... No, my sys is in the command buffer. Rats. I think we're going to lose that window if we change tabs. Are we not? No, we don't. All right. Happy day. Do that and pop that in there. It's a get. This is fun. You can see if you're right. Look, it's a get. I don't like flying blind. We don't need these other windows partially obscured, but
Oh,
that's
I
fine.
I'm totally feeling like maybe next time we do this,
Yeah.
we could build a UI action on your scripted rest thing to create your command.
That would be
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, you'd have to introspect the parameters. Well, ooh, ow. Because this says what query parameters I'm looking for, but oftentimes you put them down in the associations, like you test them down here. I don't know. That would be tough because your path parameters and query parameters aren't looked interesting.
I think we can do it. I
All
think
right.
we can at least get like part of the way there.
You're driving.
Because I watched somebody do copying pasting, and I'm like, well, I can do that with a computer.
I can tell the computer to copy and paste for me just as well
Yeah.
as anyone else. Okay, so favorites. And then we want one argument that's going to say, oh, wait a minute. This is random. Command group favorite. Pick a random favorite. I got the description wrong. I thought that sounded a little redundant. Pick a random favorite. And this one had some optional parameters. Customer and region. So query parameter there, query parameter there. If it doesn't get one, it goes to your profile. If it doesn't, okay. Yeah, that's it. Once upon a time, I had the party in there, but I figured you know what the party is because the customer has it on their profile. And what are you doing at the command line if you don't have a party anyway? So this would be customer. Was it actually called customer in the API? Yes, customer and region code with a capital C. Keep that in mind. C string is going to be a sysid. Oh, you know what we didn't look for in the command line? Snc karaoke activities. If we do activities help, look what it says for default. Okay. And starting record number, we put a 0 in there, but it doesn't display 0, which I thought was rather intriguing. So, did I lose you guys? Am I still online?
No,
Okay.
Brad seems distracted.
So
I was just
know-
answering questions.
Probably. Okay. All right. So
Watching Andrew answer questions.
Apparently, I'm not interesting anymore, but okay.
I'm interested in you, Chuck.
Script, gs.get user ID. I would like to see this a little cleaner, but we'll go with that. Customer sysid. Copy that again because that's going to be our prompt. Order 100. Now, it's not mandatory in this one because we have the scripted REST API smart enough to say, you didn't give me one. I'm taking whoever authenticated to run this thing. We're good with that.
Did we figure out that JavaScript gs.get user ID worked or didn't work?
Yes, it did work. It did
work. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it was mandatory on the other one.
Not my guess.
It works, but it's not really displayed all that nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to say default, So here's what you can also do. Before I finish this up, let's try this. Let's do command activities, and in the examples, let's put something in here. Get users latest. Get a page of user activities. Examples: SNC karaoke activities. Customer sysid start int. It's an example. Let's put in an example. I need a sample sysid. It's not still there. Darn it. Here, we just need a random sysid. Like that. And start 0, count 10. So let's do that. go back here and refresh. See configure profile refresh. I should just have a command and a macro that says like /R or something. Snc karaoke activities. No. Help. Stop. Abort. Okay. So it does put the example down here, but I don't see the description anywhere, which is interesting. But if you fill in the example, it will tell you in your help, here's a way to use it, which I think is very helpful. I love examples. I'm one of those guys that skips a lot of the APIs and says, just show me how it's used. So back to commands. Where were we? Random, which is part of favorite. We need customer. What did favorite take? Region code. Region, short name, R. String, I think would be good. Default value, we'll make it US, just for fun. Short description, region or country code. Spell that right. I often misspell it, and it's not a pretty word. Country code. Prompt, region / country code. Order 200. Wish I could put something in there a little bit more intuitive, but for now, we'll go with that. Now let's hook up our endpoint arguments that we cleverly forgot last time. This one is customer to flags.customer. Parameter type was, both of these were query, if I remember right. New. This was region code. Value is flags.region. That is also a path parameter. Ready? Refresh. Let's do SNC karaoke help. I just want to see if it's in here. We have favorite. What happened to activities? Oh, it's up there. Oh, available commands and command groups. Okay, so it's segregated. That's working. It's hierarchical like I wanted it to. And then if we say favorite help, I still don't know if it's going to work. Favorite help as random as its available command. Pick a random favorite. And if we say favorite random help, you can get really deep with this stuff.
Yeah, you can.
And there's customer and region. Ooh, okay. Let's see if it works. Random. Sure, mine's good. US is fine. Oh, it's thinking for a long time. That made me nervous.
Failure.
ID
this is
undefined.
Yeah, this is not the script itself. This is a script include. All right, 65CE. If I remember right, that is the favorite script include. Is not happy. Nope, that's 6529. Customer? Q. It's got to be Q. There's only like 3 of these that I know. There it is. And what line did it poop out on? 407. I know exactly what the problem is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was dealing with this when I was trying to retool the API. 407 goes in and says, this dot is queued. It either doesn't know the song, the customer, or the party, because it said ID is not found in one of these things. Customer's right there. Am I passing in C? Let's go back to the scripted REST API, the REST API Explorer. Let's go back to the REST API Explorer. Just make sure it's working. Get random favorite. Where was it? Get random favorite. And we have 2 query parameters. One is customer, and that comes from, that's not my sysID. My sysID is hiding over on this page. Paste that in. Let's pass in region code, US.
You got a W on code.
You. Is region code a code or is it a sysid now? I can't remember. I thought it was a code. Let me look. Tell me, oh random thing, what are you looking for? If you don't give me a region code, get default region code. It returns, yeah, it's a 2-letter code. It doesn't say ID. It's a code. Name your functions to tell you what they're going to return. Are you getting an ID or a sysid? Let's send that. And that one created one. Okay, so it's got to be something in the way we're passing it in. We didn't forget to hook something up this time. I did a refresh, right? Yeah, because it prompted for all the new, well, just in case. /refresh. That's as fast as I can do it. And then let's do random -c customer ID -r US. Okay, that worked for me. Something wacky with the interactive mode. Random favorite. This ID US. Okay, something's weird with the interactive mode. That's good to know.
The JavaScript.
I know where it's dying.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it's.
And why did the interactive mode prompt you for the region code twice?
It did?
It did.
Yeah.
Did you see something I didn't? I think it was just a display thing.
No.
1, 2. I only hit enter twice. Okay.
So paste in your sysid under the interactive. I think it's working. I think the JavaScript is working when it's default and it's not interactive, and the JavaScript's not.
Wait, what? Say that again.
When you're in interactive mode and it's populating the default for you, which is the JavaScript, but then when it sends that over to ServiceNow, it says, "Yo, you can't send me JavaScript to execute, but JavaScript I already have, sure." But I think that's what's happening.
It worked in the other one,
but not in interactive mode.
You sure?
No.
Let's try it.
I thought we did interactive first. Activities. Oh, you know what? It's probably going, this is bogus. So I'm going to use one internally to the API.
It uses the default one that you established in your scripted. Yeah.
This probably isn't working at all then. This is probably just messing us up. We don't want a default value for this. Okay, we were lulled into a false sense of it working, and it's not. So that should work, and I think that took care of activities.
Good call out, Janos. They asked earlier about, will the JavaScript actually work from the command line? And I was like, maybe.
We had to try.
And it
I
seems
was
like
skeptical as well. Yeah.
Oh, now
he's like.
I think I said something right.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Then we really need. Well, no, it still doesn't need to be mandatory because the random one is being taken care of by the API, but activities does need a mandatory one. So what happens if you do? Let's do a refresh. Oops, /refresh. Okay, let's do a refresh. And now activities must have a sysid. See how it has an X next to it?
Very cool.
It won't let you go. So let's put in mine. Start 2, 1. Good. Okay. Now but because karaoke favorite random doesn't necessarily need one. It's got a green check mark. It says, I don't need one. I'll use yours if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And
region code. It's good. And I don't know what I'm singing anymore. Any way you want it. Okay, that's what I'm singing.
Any way you want it.
Which I think is an appropriate place to end off.
That's right.
I think it is.
It's better than the end of the world as we know it.
It's true.
Why is it angry?
This is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun.
I like command line stuff.
I don't understand why the screen is angry at me.
I can go this way a little bit.
Next time we can in the future we can also see about injecting something in a body, like when we do a post. Because so far I just did a couple of gets, which was an easy low hanging fruit. But I'd like to learn more about how to do post commands that create something.
Mhm.
How do you structure that body when it's a JSON payload or something? So a lot of fun.
So good engagement in the chat today.
Yes.
Thanks for all your contributions out there and questions that you were asking along the way. So to recap, what we saw was a preview of a soon-to-be released store app, which is the new ServiceNow Command CLI, which is customizable and configurable. So you as a developer can do like Chuck did, which is create your own commands. But additionally, other app creators, including ServiceNow, can start including those commands as part of their apps, and then allowing you, the ServiceNow customer developer, to access and use those. It's shipping with just the table API commands out of box, but as you saw on the show here today, it's pretty easy to get started to providing your own enhancements to that CLI, and then the world is your oyster. If you like CLIs and you want to use them, then this really opens the door for that in a myriad of ways. And I really appreciate you showing that to us, Chuck. Again, this is a preview tech, and it will be coming out, relatively soon. And
sure, we'll have a blog entry on it when it does come out.
We'll
definitely
have a blog
will.
entry for sure, and likely another episode on it. And
as
with
a footnote, the Karaoke app, I put out the latest version with OpenID for a Google badge on the service portal on Monday. We've had about 60 people that have created new accounts either through the user self-registration or through the Google API, the Google OpenID. About 2/3 of those have used the Google badge. So I was blown away by the proportion of how many would fill in the form for self-registration versus how many would provision via the Google thing. And that's a statement as to how useful that OpenID thing is for getting adoption. So think about, a government agency where they want all their citizens to log in. Well, hey, you can either go through and fill out a form, or you can use an existing account as your SSO. And I was blown away how the adoption has grown just from that one badge. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty great. So let us wrap up by rating our beverages of choice today. How was yours, Brad?
I'll go first. I had the KBS fudge. It's basically a fudge stout now that I have tried it. I'm going to give it a 4. It was okay. It wasn't awesome.
I'm going to have to try that because I grew up with
having watched your face throughout the thing, I was going to call it a 3.75.
Oh, reading the body language.
It was pretty weird at first, I'll be honest. So, I grew to like it.
Yeah. All right. And how was yours, Chuck?
Yeah, I gotta find one of those because I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in Marquette, and KBS came along after I had left, but I do know where it is, and I've had some of their beers. I can't find them around here, but my daughter, who went to school just a few years ago at Northern Michigan University, has had those. She really doesn't care for KBS too much. She's become a microbrew aficionado in college, which I think is appropriate. But anyway, mine. Yeah, she asked me, Dad, what's your favorite microbrew in Marquette? I said, there weren't any when I was there. It was 30 years ago, kid. The Warsteiner Dunkel, I'm going to give it a 4.25 with the +2.5 success factor. So I liked it a lot. Good, healthy, hearty, full-bodied, flavored beer without being heavy.
So my Gimme Danger, Estonian beer was pretty good. Like this Imperial Stout, like it did the work. It had a really good flavor.
There's a tie in there. Gimme Danger and Any Way You Want It. Think about Caddyshack. Caddyshack, kids. Rodney Dangerfield, he's out on the golf course. That club pops up out of his bag and they start playing any way you want it. Right? Am I right?
I doubt half of the people who watch this will even
Oh,
You're watching
understand most of the
Caddyshack this week.
words.
Go watch Caddyshack this weekend. All right, that was a
But
long stretch, but I got it.
but my beer, yeah, it's a 425. It's really good. I enjoyed it a lot. So thanks so much for joining us, everyone, and I hope we are planning to sneak in a show next week, but it's also Thanksgiving week in the US, and well, things may change. So we'll most likely see you next week, but it also could be the following week. But
We will have a next week. We will have a community live stream on Monday about data lookup tables, and there's
Ooh.
a breakpoint coming out on Wednesday, the 25th. A discussion with Tim Woodruff. So look for those in wherever podcast.
Wherever you consume those podcasts.
You know where to find them, everybody.
Yeah. Awesome. So we appreciate that, Chuck, reminding us that we have some other things
Lots
out
of
there.
Plenty.
We have a lot of content. So head over to developer.servicenow.com, find any of our content that you want to consume as a ServiceNow developer. It's really your place and your home, and it's where I live. So again, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. And if we don't see you next week, we'll see you the following week. And I hope you have a great holiday if you're in the US, and just a wonderful week if you're not. Bye, everybody.